Welcome back, my delinquents. The end of Nijisanji. And yeah, I might be a bit dramatic here. I really do feel like this consent situation is a tipping point for Nijisanji, where they will either learn from this or they will continue to crash and burn. So if you haven't heard now that Nijisanji had a concert, Virtual Rhapsody, and it was actually being held at the same time as a Hololive concert and a couple others, which is very poor planning, which I would say the biggest thing here that it shows is the drop of the ball of Nijisanji management more than anything, not talent popularity, even though that seems to be dipping recently, but Nijisanji as a company really not pulling their weight. And I just want to say here, I do feel bad for all the Nijisanji fans. I don't usually comment on this stuff because I'm not a corpo person per se, and it is very complicated situations. But I feel like this is a tipping point for their company where they have been treating their fans rather badly, I would say, and their talent, that they either need to straighten up or they're going to get real repercussions for dropping the ball consistently. Not to mention the bad behaviors, the unfair contracts, etc. But I do think, unless it's a big deal, I will not be talking about Nijisanji consistently. This is just more of I feel like this is a tipping point for them to realize in the grand scheme what they're doing wrong, because I feel like this content really outlines it. So let's get into it. Okay, so here we have some of the bookmarks of the content. This is the Hololive content, look at that. So this is some footage from the actual content here. I have some others here, a lot shared on Reddit, Twitter, etc. of empty chairs in general here. So the content seemed to be not sold out, or a lot of people not showing up. Probably due to poor planning and higher prices on the tickets, because from my notes from a couple sources here, including some Nijisanji fans themselves, tickets sold for $188 USD, I'm pretty sure, which is really steep. I'm pretty sure this was held in Singapore, so you can imagine how freaking expensive that was. It was in Singapore. Well, yeah. So the $188 for Singapore was very expensive, and from smarter people than me, it has here, this one has it as $140, but the Hololive ticket seems to be $65 USD, so Nijisanji was charging way more than even double than other concerts, which probably did not help in this situation. So it would explain some of the underselling. It doesn't also help that the performances seem to be separated into male performances and female performances, and you had to pay per ticket. You could not just switch between for $188 or $140. I'm not 100% on this, what it was converted to. So if you wanted to see both sides of this talent, you were out almost $400, which is kind of ridiculous. Not to mention the other add-ons to this was, if you wanted to meet and greet, it was around, I think it was like $65 to $90 for a 90-second meet and greet with a star. Absolutely crazy. That is so expensive. And in comparison, this was the Hololive concert in Melbourne, which I actually didn't know what was happening. Australia, let's go. But this was, in comparison, the content next to it, that this is a bigger stadium, a bigger area. You do have some spare seats in the back, but look how humongous this stadium is. I would say the cheaper ticket was definitely a selling point to this too, so that you didn't have to be the most wealthy fan to go to this concert. And it makes sense, seeing in Australia, around 65 to 70 for anime conventions is kind of normal-ish, and this is kind of, I feel like it would have been projected to be similar fan bases, so what they would be comfortable with. But it shows to me they at least did some research to the country they're going to, which honestly, a big part of this is it seems like Nijisanji just seems like they did not do any research to help their talents or to make this show a success. It seemed like they had it's going to be a success because I'm Nijisanji, which they are not taking into consideration the backlash they had recently, the competition in the field, and the general lack of quality that they're getting known for in their shows. Because sadly, the cost and people just not buying the tickets and showing up was not their biggest problem here. Their biggest problem was also poor planning. It seems like a lot of errors with the actual performances, as a few songs were even muted, even though it is back and forwards if this was a pre-recorded performance or not, but songs were muted because they breached copyright, because they did not give permission to play the songs. Does that sound familiar? Even I heard about their fiascos with this. A pre-planned concert with pre-recorded songs gets muted. That is absolutely bare minimum planning there. And it's insulting to fans, it's insulting to talent. No matter your opinion on the talents there, I think we should problems mainly to Nijisanji on this. That is just asking for failure for people who put a lot of work in. So that's a bit of it. We'll see if we can actually show this recording. If it gets flagged, I'm sorry guys, you're not allowed to see it. I'll link it. But it's not particularly bad. Honestly, the singers are carrying. The screen is absolutely tiny. And we've all had a meme at how bad Nijisanji models are, especially if you aren't their favorite. Because favoritism is a humongous problem with Nijisanji, honestly. Even as an outsider, I can see it, and it's very annoying unless you're the top people. You don't get actually new models. You get completely disregarded in performances. Rose Semi was actually the only Nijisanji I have ever watched. Seems to always get the short end of the stick on that, and it's very annoying. Corporations should be there to try and ensure success of all their talents, because if they're not succeeding, it's also the company's fault, not just the talents. Because they should be doing as much as possible to ensure success, not just writing the already successful. So not just that a lot of their songs were muted on this, it was also that there was scuffed sound devices. You could see behind the scenes on some of these, like you could see the laptops, all the projection stuff. It was really messy. Even Nijisanji fans were saying it was very messy. And honestly, it's very disrespectful to the people who are almost dropping $200 to get in here. Like, I feel so bad for the fans of this, that they're trying so hard to save this. They're trying so hard to save this corpo. And the corpo is just like pissing on them practically here, and it's so frustrating because I can understand not liking Nijisanji because I think they're doing a shit job. Honestly, I don't think they're being the corporation they should be. They're treating talents badly, and everything else about them. When it comes to the talents, I'm not really sure who's to blame with bullying, etc. So I won't go into it. And you can have your grievances, but I feel like if you're a fan or still trying to be a fan to them, it's so difficult because they just keep screwing up like they just don't care, honestly, and it's beyond frustrating. Even from an outsider, that they have all this fame, all this power, all this fan base, and they're just like, I don't care. So this just comes from a post from someone who actually went, from what I could tell. They paid $65, so here's a confirmation, it was $65 for 1 to 2 minute meet and greet. This is the setup we have here. You can see it's a tiny screen, you can see the laptop in the background, they didn't have the right cords or the right setup for it. Amazing. Laptop in the open instead of usual behind the screen. Had to share a single earphone with other strangers to talk with a VTuber. So you're 1 to 2 minutes, like, you had to share. She wasn't even on speaker. You had to put in earbuds that you shared with all these people. Very unsanitary. I hope at least they had a sanitary wipe to wipe this. It completely seems like a mess here. The laptop was actually up in the open because the cable is too short. Same reason why it's on top of 2 stacked chairs instead of a usual table. This is probably an indie VTuber. Yeah, this is a big Nijisanji one. They're having a joke about it, but like, support them. But yes, this is very messy for a very, like, conventions are run better than this. Even the crap webcon had some of these things set up like in a safe way on day 2 or 3. But this one, they had it completely messy. The sound wasn't even working. At least it got there eventually at WeebCon. They got there. And this is from like $1 million company charging you $200 a head. Honestly, this feels like a tipping point for Nijisanji where they either have to learn this is not acceptable behavior that they can get away with by the lack of people actually coming or buying tickets, or they will crash and burn. I do hope they actually somehow improve, but honestly, their reputation is so bad. I don't know how as a company they can actually save this. If you think they can, leave a comment below, but I honestly don't know how you save a brand this tarnished at this point, because every chance their fans seems to keep giving them to do better, they just seem to do worse and worse. I do feel bad for the talents left who are just trying to do the best that's not involved in the scandals and stuff like that. They're just trying to fulfill their contracts as they are. At the very least, if this takes a turn, either direction, Nijisanji will improve and do better, or they will do worse and the talents will be left out of their contracts at some point and they can hopefully move on with their lives. But this absolute half-assedness of just just fucking people around is pathetic. They are $1 million company. They are supposed to be a talent management, manage your staff. They scheduled this on the same day as so many other events with their direct competitor. Even from the beginning, this was stupid. This was like set up to fail. It's like they want their talents to fail. Or their ego is so humongous, they thought they couldn't fail. And that's how you fail in the end, thinking you can't be taken down. Because VTubing is getting more and more competitive. There is getting better and better options to spend your time. And they can't keep half-assing it, and especially with talent management. More and more studios are coming out every day, offering more freedom, more management, more time. Nijisanji can't just keep doing not even the bare minimum, expecting everyone to keep flocking to them. At some point, even their most dedicated fans are gonna get sick about how they're treating their favorites, because no one wants to see the VTubers they care about, their dreams consistently getting crushed. And I'm sorry if I offended anyone. I know this is a touchy subject for a lot of people, fandom wars here, but I think it needs to be said that I really think this is, past the scandals, past the everything, this humongous drop in quality, I think is the Titanic of Nijisanji. This will be their slow drop into being irrelevant, unless they really do something. They really make a drastic change for the better. But thanks for listening to my rants, guys. As per usual, I just wanted to drop my 2 cents into this. And don't expect me to get in on corpos that often, unless it's the company, because you know how I love to rant about company failures. So don't expect me to comment on every single Nijisanji thing. I only comment on things that I think are important or has an interesting way that we can discuss it in a real way. And I hope leave your comments below on what you think of the situation, or how it could be fixed, or how you're just feeling about it. And like if you like the video, and subscribe if you want to. I'll see you guys next time, my delinquents. You got this, bestie.